very special guest, and I am very excited to have you on. Would you mind if you introduced yourself very quickly?
Of course. My name is Amy. I'm from the UK, but I travel around all year round. Luckily, I work online, so I'm remote. I'm a creative strategist at a large skincare company. And yeah, that's me, really.
So, look, we're going to go into a bit of a deep dive in kind of creative strategy, creative processes, how you look at growth. So, I think it's important to kind of go all the way back and ask, where did creativity kind of show up in your life? And yeah.
Yeah. I think I've always been a creative person, just from taking nice pictures on my phone to I did ballet for 16 years. I've always been in that space of like creativity and art and kind of theatre and stuff. But yeah, I started making content, really enjoyed that. Started working with brands. And yeah, just really important for me to be documenting that throughout the years. And I think that's how I got into UGC. Being able to make money whilst making content is a great option for people.
So it's interesting. So you talk about UGC. How did that help you kind of look at the creative landscape you see? Was it kind of very much the early building blocks of how you approach strategy today?
Definitely, yeah. I think I got into UGC at a really, really early time, like 2020, and people were messaging me like, "Can you make me an ad?" And like there was no constraints, no knowledge, like nothing was coming. So I kind of felt like at the start I was just making what I thought people would like to see. So I kind of felt like I almost taught myself that for a while, and then it definitely shifted to people sending crappy scripts over that's like so overly polished ads, and people would send me them, and the more I was doing them, I was like, I could write this better. Like, let me try and help. Let me see how I can make this script better. So I feel like that's how I kind of, started learning it, just telling people how bad their scripts were and writing it better for them.
Do you think there's tension there for a lot of creatives where they need to constrain the kind of the UGC content creators to kind of follow the brief, but also letting them have freedom? Do you think that's a real tension point? What do you think?
Yeah, definitely. And now I'm the other side and I'm creative strategy. That's something I also find really hard to decide on. I think it's just the person that you're working with. Like, if that person's got, 100,000 followers and they're great at content, I'm going to say, like, make me a video talking about X, Y, and Z. And I trust them to do that because they've got proof that they're good at making content. If it's like a smaller UGC creator that wants £100 for a video, I'm going to be like, you need to say this and you need to do this. And this is going to be a good video. So I think it's all, based on the person.
It's interesting. So when you're scaling that,
Mm.
those content creators, do you have to get them the kind of the balance right on who are you? Kind of what demographics are you hitting by kind of content creator? And then do you change the brief accordingly? I'm just intrigued. How is it a living document? Would you
Yeah, of
say?
course. Yeah, there's no right or wrong way. Like I'm part of a mentor group as well. Like I'm a creative strategist. I support a lot of people on this, and people ask me the same kind of question, like, what am I giving to each person? But I think it comes from everywhere. Like, what are competitors doing? What are your reviews? What like learnings are you getting from your own customers that you want to make content about? What's trending? What's angles you haven't tested? Ideas come from everywhere and are like, influenced by so many things out there. So yeah, it keeps evolving. Different people suit different concepts, different things that are going on.
You mentioned a really interesting thing there about ideas.
Hmm.
Do you think a lot of people struggle from kind of like, let's say, an idea to like a live idea? And what I mean by that is actually the packaging, right? Because we all have inspiration, but actually packaging it in a way that makes sense. Do you think a lot of people struggle with that?
Definitely. I think even I like sitting down and coming up with ideas is just really difficult. Like being like sometimes you're in the shower and like the best ideas will come to you, or like you go on a walk or you're like scrolling on TikTok.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
I
yeah.
think, yeah, having an idea and then actually, presenting that to your team, getting that down on paper and like the whole process of getting it live. I mean, that can also take months, which I think is a challenge. Like, unless I think agencies are obviously much more like pumped out and, you can get that quicker. But yeah, in terms of that process, there's so much to organize, getting the creators, writing the scripts with your editors, and even validating the idea. Yeah, definitely, it's definitely a long process.
So so look, I had a little LinkedIn stalk, and I saw that you have a background in psychology, right? Kind of run me through that. What learnings have you taken from that and today's kind of how do you approach it? You know?
Yeah, no, I think it's really key. I think that's definitely me. I worked in mental health for quite a few years before creative strategy, which is one of the reasons why I wanted to get into that world, to get out of, NHS £9 an hour kind of
Yeah,
life.
yeah.
But I did love it. I do love helping people. And I think the brands that I work with now, I'm always wanting to work with brands that solve a problem. Like I'm very help focused. Like how can we improve people's lives with our product? Like I'm not about selling like a pair of jeans or, something that's not helpful. But yeah, I think like a lot of the psychological drivers that I learned at uni in my degree, encouraging people how like speaking to their deepest desires. I think all of that is really relevant, and like, decision making shortcuts and helping people the reasons why they want to buy, not just telling people to buy, I think is really important. More like empathy over just selling, yeah, is really important to me.
So how that's interesting. So do you think a lot of brands, they don't get the empathy part in what they're making? They're kind of very much, we need to make, these are we need to make this profit. These are the KPIs. Do you think a lot of, and do you think there's a kind of a counter movement to kind of more rawness now?
Definitely now. Yeah. I mean, when people start a brand, they're like, right, I've got to make an ad. It's problem, solution. It's, you have to go through those stages of an ad. And that is so like everyone can spot an ad now, right? And I think the ads that do the best at the moment are really ugly, really raw. You don't know they're an ad. You feel like someone's speaking to you. You resonate with them. And I think that is all psychological based because we're speaking to someone's desire and we feel like a friend rather than someone that's just there to sell them a hairbrush.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, I'm intrigued here. Do you, when when you're looking at kind of creative strategy, are you saying, right, these are the desires we want to kind of not play to, because that seems manipulative, but kind of this is where we want to make them. This is how we want them to feel. Is
Yeah,
actually kind of, is that how
100%.
you start in a way?
Yes, there's like 16 psychological drivers that I think about when I'm writing my ads. And I
Wow.
think, yeah, I think 16 is obviously a lot, but I think if you can try and speak to two of them, I think that's great. And yeah, obviously it's different with your different avatars and your target audiences and things. But yeah, I definitely think it's more resonating to like the end result and how you'll feel after purchasing rather than like, a discount or why you should purchase. But yeah, I definitely think a lot of those principles apply to many audiences.
So, I kind of want to touch up on what you were saying. So, are there certain, we're talking about kind of ugly ads and we're talking about rawness. Do you
Hmm.
think from when you started out as a UGC content creator, where have you seen the evolution of content? Where have you kind of, you know what I mean? Because at the beginning,
Yeah.
was it this and now it's that? And yeah,
I
where's your head
kind
at?
of attribute a lot to TikTok. I think when I first started, it was, people were doing Instagram reels or Instagram posts, and that's kind of where all of our big influencers were. And those ads are like mostly Facebook ads, and that's kind of those really structured ads that you're used to seeing, like a really simple hook. And then, you follow through your like chunks of a UGC video. But I think with TikTok, everybody is like, so many people are influencers now. Like they're not even good at making content, but people can make posts and go viral. And I think that's made people much more subjected to noticing what is an ad and what is just someone's real opinion. I mean, I'm the generation that's TikTok related, I guess. So I kind of like think about that.
Yeah.
But TikTok Shop, I think, has changed a lot of how people are buying things, so especially like in the ecosphere of like ecom. But yeah, I definitely think ugly ads are more doing a lot better, and even ugly to the point of like post-it notes or
Yeah.
street interviews and stuff that you don't think's an ad. Not even promoting you should buy this, but just a conversation about the product. I think is really beneficial nowadays.
No, you're really on the pulse here, because I think there's a lot of, I mean, for how what I'm seeing in the landscape right now is there's a lot of those sticky note ads. There's a lot of ads where it doesn't feel like an ad. It just feels like someone's picked up a phone, taken a
Exactly.
photo,
Yeah.
and put paid behind it. But
Yeah, I think some people
yeah,
are like almost angry about ads nowadays. Like, that's
yeah,
an ad, I'm not buying from it. But then if like a really genuine influencer's like, I used this the other day and I really liked it. It's like, oh, well, if she liked it, maybe I'll like it. And it doesn't feel like you're being told to buy. I think people are really subjected to that nowadays.
it's really interesting for me because when talking to people about TikTok Shop, and a lot of brands, I kind of hear what they kind of say. Well, it's for items between, let's say, $20 and $45. And at the
Hmm.
moment, I think one of the top selling products is the new Ninja cooker, I think.
Yeah, yeah,
And
yeah. That's
it's,
really cool. That, yeah.
yeah, and it's like that is a, I don't know, maybe $300 item being
Hmm.
brought on TikTok. So I think
Yeah.
you've got to go where the eyeballs are. I think consumption habits are on TikTok, and now people are putting money and they're buying What do you think?
Exactly. And it's such an interesting format because people want to make videos for you because they're going to earn more money. So we do it at Cure as well. And we only started it maybe 3 months ago going hard, but we are doing so well there. Like it's becoming one of our big channels. We've just employed like a whole team of 3 people to manage it because it's going so well. And yeah, as you say, like high price point, our product's like up there for $200, I think maybe. And it's doing really well. Like people want to make content for us. I think we started off with like a 30% commission. Yeah, it's just doing really well. I think it's great. And then also that all that content, run it as a Facebook ad, run it as a TikTok Spark ad, run it on Instagram. Like you've then got all that content, just more and more people, more faces to the brand. And it really helps with social presence as well.
So I think you're segueing it beautifully to where I wanted to get to, talking about where you are now, who you're working for. I think the question I have now would be, so you've gone from kind of the UGC content creator to vast media.
Yeah.
What were the learnings there? And then you've gone to, is it Core or Cure?
Cure. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
My pronunciation of brands is actually just
No, you're good.
bad.
It's like a play on words, cure your skin with a Q. Yeah.
Yeah.
You're good. Yeah, so I got into UGC. Obviously, as I said, learned a lot there. Wanted to improve scripting, and I did all my courses and stuff. Started with vast media marketing, did that for about 2 years, which was great in agency. So looking after a lot of different brands, kept things, really on your toes. Lots of different brands, deadlines, really fast moving. And then, yeah, Cure actually reached out to me a couple of years ago now. And I shifted in house, which has been great. I think that was definitely the next logical step. I think agencies are great because, you're almost, you know what to do. You've got deadlines, you've got targets, you've got responsibilities in like a churn.
Yeah.
And then when I've come now to where I am at Cure, like I'm the person that's managing myself, managing my team, and I'm coming up with everything, like the higher level strategy. So I think it's a really nice progression into being in house.
It's interesting because for me, it's like is the game, because everyone talks about speed and scale, right?
Mhm.
Everyone talks about AI, and again, it's the buzzword, right? I mean, I just find it interesting how, because from a creative strategist point of view, I think there's tension with the word speed. I mean, I think you have to have speed, but also, I mean, now you could run thousands of ads, but realistically, to me, that's not how I see the future of kind of creative. I think that's just, I mean, what do you think? I mean,
Yeah, so I think maybe last year, a couple of years ago, the whole strategy for Facebook was just make as many ads as possible, throw it at the wall and see what sticks. But I think now there's a lot more value in putting your best efforts into a couple of really good ads and seeing them grow. I think it depends what brand you are. Like if you're a brand new brand, like I'm always going to say, make as many ads as you possibly can and see what lands. But for example, with our company at Cure, because we're a lot bigger now, we're more focused on putting our money and slowing it down, our best efforts into a set few amount of ads. Like things like AI, I would recommend again to a smaller brand, but with our reputation, depends how big your brand is. AI, I probably wouldn't recommend for bigger brands. Like, you're trying to build a big customer base that comes back to you for years and years. But if you're a smaller brand just looking for a first few sales, I think that's more beneficial there.
it's, I think you're very much, I think what I'm getting from this conversation is, and again, this is kind of how I'm interpreting it, is we look at, I don't know, there is a point where speed makes sense, but
Hmm.
it seems like when you look at a brand's journey at the beginning, it's, you have AI to really speed that up. And then when you
Yeah.
get to kind of the place that you are in your career and the team you're building, it's okay, we use it where it makes sense, but we don't use it where, like, it's not in the output,
I
right?
think
It doesn't get,
so.
it may be some, maybe little bits, but it's not fully there. It's
Yeah.
like, it's not in the output. It's more in like, how do we gather the information about the customer, etc. Yeah. Or
Exactly, yeah. So first couple of months, make as many as you can, learn what angles stick, try and figure out your avatars, your awareness stages, like your levels of sophistication, like what do your audience care about? And then you've got all those learnings and you go, we've got 3 angles that work well. And then we can just put all of our effort in there. We can pay big influencers. We can make all of our UGC about that. And then you've
mm.
learned it. So I think, yeah, definitely the more advantage you've got and the more you've learned, you then have that flexibility to work harder on bigger topics.
So for you then, where would you say creativity gets bottlenecked? So if you've got your team, where would you say the biggest frustration is in the sense of your process? Because I'm intrigued kind of, is it, from what I've learned from conversations I've had with people, it's actually taking a test to a live test.
Yeah.
We were talking about that earlier in the conversation. I'm just intrigued, where do you think the problem is at the moment in the creative process?
I mean, my personal bottleneck at the moment, I don't think it's everyone's. I currently probably have a bit of an issue with editing and getting like edits done, to my standards and as quickly as possible. That's personally my problem, but I don't think that's for everyone. I think a lot of the bottlenecks are how much spend you can actually test. Like you might have made 100 ads, but you're only spending $100 a week, so you're limited there. Actually, getting creators is a really big problem. People don't know where to find creators. They're disappointing. They're late. All those kind of things. So I think it's a lot of problems. But the best thing that I would just advise is have a really strong team around you. Have really strong systems. I've built out all the systems in our company. We use project management tools like ClickUp, and everything is set times and
Yeah,
on
yeah, yeah.
track. But yeah, I think it's just about having the best team around you and having enough people to rely on.
Yeah. It's interesting, isn't it? It's because I think there is, again, that there's a really interesting middle point of creativity and performance,
Hmm.
right? Because for creatives, it's they could spend ages on their craft and they really want it to
Yeah.
be whatever, but there's also this needs to perform from a kind of monetary view. Like, where do you, in your opinion, in the teams you've been in, and like, where's the perfect? Is there a perfect balance, or is it just kind of we need to get really good creative that resonates, but also realistically, we need to have it in a converting. It needs to convert, right? You know?
Yeah, I totally get you. I think something that's a really good thing that you can do in that is come up with this big idea. We really want to test this. We want it to be our big thing, but we're not quite ready. So let's make it in a static. Let's make it with AI. Let's make a quick mashup, and we'll put a little bit of spend there, see what happens, whilst we're planning the final big effort of it. That's why AI is really helpful, even for big brands. Even if you just got it live for a week and you saw that the clicks are amazing and the thumbs up was amazing, and you could just turn it off and you know that you validated it, and then you can then go ahead and spend more. But yeah, I think it's just about validating your ideas. Even with social media, like put out content on that angle and see how your followers respond to it.
So in a way, it's you kind of start from the static, then if it works, then go to a video. If it works from a video, then do the seeding. If it works from the seeding, then maybe it's an overall campaign.
100%. Yeah, like I was saying in the group that I mentor in,
Interesting.
a lot of people coming to us like just starting a brand new ecom group, brand new ecom brand. And they're like, where do I start? I'm like, make some statics, test a few angles, tell me what angles perform well, then do some videos, figure out who your avatars are, and then you keep building it from there. It's about making the cheapest and quickest tests first to learn from before you start investing in time and money on things.
Interesting. So again, where do you think people misunderstand the role of creative, like the role of like a creative strategist in growth? Where do you think people? What do you think?
I think there's just a lot of people think you get a creative strategist in, they'll just write scripts and make videos and they'll go live and that's it. But I think there's so much more to that. Like, especially in my role, I'm working closely with the influencer team, with TikTok Shop, with the social media team, and looking at reviews and working with the customer service team. And it's a lot more overall strategy than it used to be. I think even in agencies, maybe it's a lot more like just write content, write briefs. But I think nowadays it's a lot more involved with media buying, and there's a lot more going on in it.
So do you think the era of being a specialist is maybe, again, do you think that's over in a way, in the sense of, do you think you've now got to be a bit more of a generalist? You've got to be able to dabble in all the buckets of a creative strategist, not just I am the best at video. Do you think there needs to be more?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, yeah, because I think it was just like Facebook was the main channel, but I'm managing YouTube Shorts, AppLovin, Snapchat. Like, there's a lot of different places as well. But I think the role will probably grow to being media buyers with creative strategy knowledge, because as a creative strategist, you have to work so closely with the media buyer. I think that will probably eventually start changing to teaching media buyers how to become a creative strategist and being much more involved in that process.
So it's interesting now. So you've kind of, again, you started as a UGC content creator.
Hmm.
You then have gone into vast media. You went vast media. Now you're at Cure. How has it been now, kind of being like an individual to managing a team? What's that sense of? Because again, it's you can't control every aspect or every variable of your team, because I mean, unless you can, then very impressive. But it's
Yeah.
how do you get culture right? Because I think that's a really hard thing in the creative world. It's how do you let people have freedom to be creative in a way? How do you
Yeah,
approach that?
good question. I think there's definitely a conversation and decision whether you hire people for skills or you hire people for personality. I think I'm shifting more over to hiring people for personality now that, have a real passion to work in that space and with your company, and training them into that role, because I've definitely hired before for skills and then that hasn't quite come forward in the company fit. But we do like personality tests before we employ people and try and learn about like how they want to be
Amazing.
managed,
Yeah,
which is
amazing.
funny because I never thought I'd be in like a management role. And as you asked about creative strategy, like how broad it is, like I am a manager as well at the same time. Like I have teams like annual leave and like bonuses and targets to manage as well.
Oh,
So
goodness.
that's been really insightful for me. But yeah,
Yeah.
like learning how people want to be managed and what they value. Do they want praise by like compliments, or do they want more days off, or do they want bonuses? Like I think it's definitely, yeah, working out what people respond best to.
It's interesting. How, in your opinion, again, from your kind of in your world and your perspective, how do you think people like to be managed? I mean, yeah. How do you, what do you think in your opinion? Like, where is, again, I know you, yeah,
Yeah, and everyone is so different as well, so
yeah,
definitely
precisely.
hard. In my department, I think I definitely see people valuing having their opinion and then us like using their ideas and going a long way. I mean, for me, the most rewarding thing about creative strategy is, as you said, being in the shower, having an idea, and then next month it's an ad and it's made the company, thousands of dollars. That's the most rewarding thing to me. So I think allowing people to be a part of that process, even from the video editors, like the salaries are a little bit lower, like they're just
Yeah.
there to make they're allowed to be a part of that process, and they really feel like, supporting the company as a whole. I think that's really beneficial.
So where do you feel creative strategy is heading? Like I'm in this space now where you've got, in my head, it's, this is the way, no, this is the way. I mean, no,
Mm.
I think we need to focus more on TikTok. No, this is actually creativity. Where do you think it's going, in your opinion?
Yeah, I think it's like such a big conversation now, isn't it, in this industry? But I think people, and I sort of think that it's going more AI ways. So I think there's going to be a point where you'll be able to take like a VA or someone like an admin person and do a couple of courses and then just use AI prompts to pump out scripts and to pump out ideas. But then I think the same problem is that's where everything's heading with AI, right? But then I think at the same time, the other problem is that ads are shifting to be not like ads and more organic videos. So we're going to be a bit of a time where everyone's focusing mostly on AI. I mean, most companies will come in and you have to use AI, like it's already built in, right? And I think it's going to shift more AI, but content is becoming much more organic and natural. And I think there's going to be a bit of a disconnect there. So I think that'll be a challenge. But also, as I mentioned earlier, I think more media buying. I think a lot more media buyers will be media buyer / creative strategist. And it'll be much more involved in that role.
No, first of all, very, very well put. I mean, just to kind of like ask a follow up there, do you then, if, I'm trying to think of the wording here,
You're
is
good.
if you're, if we're thinking that it's heading towards a world where AI is being used more, do you think in a way, do you think it could affect creativity for people? Do you think they'll just become over reliant on it and then they won't actually,
Yeah.
like, because it's,
Yeah,
if
I
you,
think I do as well. I think there's things now, isn't there, where people are like, there was so much effort in learning how to use AI, and there's trainings now on how to unlearn
yeah,
AI. Because like I
interesting.
think I have like a question, I'll just put it in ChatGPT, and I'm like, use your own brain. Like I use it for so much now, and I think we
Yeah.
can never fully rely on AI. Like use big prompts we've got for videos, write a video script, but then run it through people, say it out loud, like put it into chat with, AI suggested how that type of person would speak, and just make sure it sounds like a person as well. Because I definitely think we'll end up relying on it too much.
Well, it's interesting though. It's like one of my great joys with using AI. I feel like a 90-year-old man saying that. My
No,
great joys of using
yeah,
AI is
use
that
it. It's there for you.
I think it's really great at kind of, I think you can get really good at understanding exactly how your customers talk about your problem. Like you can get
Hmm.
really in the words, really much in the weeds. Like you can, okay, do they use the word, for example, in skincare, would they ever use the word efficient? Probably not. I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe they do. But from looking at your reviews and whatever, you can start to map it out. Okay.
Exactly,
That's
yeah. And
interesting.
like teaching your AI, like our AI, I put input everything. So all of our customer reviews are in there, like all of our social media comments, like everything I could possibly put in there, like Reddit. So it kind of knows who our customers are. And I've got avatars built in there, like saved as PDFs. So I'm like, say, write the script from Kelly. And I've already spent hours downloading TikTok videos and getting chat to summarize that and how she would speak. So I could even say to it, like, rewrite the word, like, I like this product as Kelly or as Diane and as these people. And it's coming out different sounding to meet the people. So with things like that, I mean, it's pretty like limitless, isn't it? How far it can go.
No, it's exciting. And then my last question for today would be, what book do you gift people the most? What is your, yeah, there you go. That's
Like
my
an
favorite
actual
question.
book?
Yeah. Oh, wow. Okay.
I don't know
Yes.
what.
Like, so like, what book, like, if you're giving someone a book and you've given it to someone, like, what book would you say is kind of A, change your life, and then A, and B, that you gift to people? Like, this is the book that I would give to you, If you're joining my team and they were struggling a little bit, you say, look, read this book and you'll kind of get it. Do you have a book like that?
I do, and now I can't remember the bloody name of it. The book that's all about customer awareness stages. What is that guy called? Eugene Schwartz? Is that what his name is?
Great for advertising.
Yes, that's
Yeah.
the one. Yes.
That's an expensive book.
Well, you can get it online PDF for free.
Yeah.
There are ways. But I would give them the ability of reading it in shorthand using AI and not reading the whole book, because it's a very long book. But yeah, I think it's very old fashioned, but I think a lot of the principles that are still true today is definitely in there.
Well, it's like I always say to people, technology is changing so quickly, but realistically, psychological triggers don't.
Will never
right?
change, yeah.
They will never change. And I think that's why Break for Advertising is such a great book. I mean, I got I bootlegged, I was in Kenya last year volunteering. I
Nice.
got a bootleg copy.
Really? That's a good idea.
It's an expensive book.
Yeah.
It's like 250. I think but it's so good though.
Yeah, definitely good principles in there that we still use today, especially like the psychological desires and the awareness stages. I think, awareness stages are still getting even more and more important nowadays anyway.
Again, so what do you think then just following up on that then, what is the best desire to go after? Or it all depends on who your target market is?
Definitely depends on who and depends the brand. But I think something that can never, I think it's always really important is social proof and like proving everything, especially skincare. You want to see those before and after results. And then for all brands, as we're talking about these organic ads, you want to see somebody like you liking the product and enjoying the product. And there's nothing you can really beat than that. You can keep telling people, 1,000 people like it, but unless you see someone truly appreciate and value something, I think that's unbeatable.
Fantastic. I mean, look, thank you so much for your time. I know I know Cure's scaling like mad and you're killing it. So to have a glimpse into what you're up to in your processes is just fascinating.
Yeah, you're very welcome.
So thank you.